Hi, welcome. Justine Flower here. Today my focus is on stress. And that's because there just seems to be one thing, one commonality that we are all suffering from at some point during our week. And for me, stress is our wisdom showing up to tell us to slow down, to tell us that there is something that we're doing which is putting us off balance, and that we need to be able to just take a step back so we can calm ourselves down and just have time to regroup, give ourselves that space. So why do we need to reduce our stress? Now, stress is something that can seem quite minor, but in actual fact, prolonged stress over a long period of time can lead to disease, can lead to mental turmoil, and can be very difficult for us to lead a happy and playful life when we're living in stress on a long-term basis. And so, there's different types of stress. There's mental stress that we can have, but there's also stress that we put on our bodies, and that could be in the form of eating things that our bodies can't digest properly. It could be in the form of exercising too hard or for too long, or doing something strenuous that your body is not used to. And there's also mental stress. Now, it's interesting that these two can affect each other, physical and mental, and it can become a bit of a chicken and egg scenario in our heads. But the physiological things that happen in your body behind stress are the same. So usually the thing that creates our stress is our thinking. Now, sometimes our thinking can be so stressful that it does cause physical symptoms. But this repetitive thinking that we have, or just having too much thinking at once when we need to be in a quiet mind, can absolutely cause us stress. And that could be too many things to do, that you think that you have so many things on your to-do list that it becomes overwhelming. It could be that you feel that you're not enough, and you're constantly in a situation where you feel you cannot give enough, that you aren't enough, that you cannot aspire to other people's expectations, or even your own expectations. And it could be when you feel that you have no choice, that you are a victim. Now, stress shows up for us all in different ways. It has a different feel to it and a different experience, and different things trigger it for different people. So we can't just do a one-size-fits-all scenario here. And therefore, the first part of dealing with stress is looking at how it may show up. So that might be that it shows up in your body. Some people, when they get really stressed, get really tight across the shoulders. I'm really guilty of that. And for other people, they have flutters in their tummy, or it causes them to go to the loo a lot of times. And for some people, they see it more in their mood. When they're stressed, they become lethargic, less motivated. They feel really physically overwhelmed and actually trapped by that thinking. And then there's also behaviour. So when you're stressed, you could be really short with people. You could be, angry with people. You can be very withdrawn from people and unsociable in that situation. So the first part of dealing with stress in your life is to be aware. Be aware of how it shows up for you, and it feels different, and it comes to us in different ways. So it's important that you look at your awareness. So let's see about what we can do about stress. So again, first of all, identify how it shows up for you. Think about those 3 areas where it shows up. Is it showing up in your body? Is it showing up in your mood? Is it showing up in your behavior? Are you noticing it in your thoughts? Are you getting overwhelmed with too much thinking? And once you've identified that, you can also look at specific areas in your life, what you do in your routine that actually cause stress on a regular basis. That might be your commute into work. That might be meeting certain people for coffee or a business meeting. It may be getting the children ready for school. It may be trying to juggle 2 jobs. It may be different things that happen throughout your week. And there may be more than one trigger. I'm not saying that there's one specific trigger here. For some people, they have more than one trigger. So be really aware. And as you move through your week, just notice those areas that you find stressful. And see, make a note of them so you can see which things are creating that unhelpful feeling. And then the next thing that you can do is when you're in that feeling, try and identify where it shows up for you. Where in your body do you feel it? What happens to your mood? Is there specific behaviors that you always do when you are stressed? So I can tell you now, for me, if I'm highly stressed, and that's been in times of bereavement and really deep trauma, what shows up for me is I just want to sleep. I can sleep at any point, throughout the day. My body just shuts down, gives my brain time to recover from that stress. So I know that's one of the things that if I'm in a very traumatic situation, my body will do that because it's just trying to self-medicate, if you like. So once you look at your mood, your behavior, and where it shows up in your body, is there certain triggers that you have? You're then in a better place to be able to identify those times when you are stressed, because often we're so busy with our day during these stressful situations, we don't realise that we are stressed because we are just thinking of what is the next thing we need to do? What is the next thing that needs to be completed? Do I have to pick the kids up from school? Have I got to get to this meeting? Why is the traffic so bad? So we're not really thinking, hold on a minute, let me just take a check of what's happening. Oh yeah, I'm getting stressed. I need to just take a step back from that. So identify is the first part of the stress, dealing with stress. And then what we want to do is try and reduce the episodes of stress that happen throughout your week and bring you back to that calm mind. And we can do that by very simply doing anything that makes you feel present. Because a lot of the times we've experienced stress because we've got too much thinking going on. And it does manifest in different ways, but the initial starter of that is thinking around those stress points that we have. And so by bringing yourself back to the present moment, it also allows you that quiet mind to focus on one thing. And by doing this, it can reduce your stress. Now, there is another element to that, as in when you are stressed, your physiology changes completely. So in a quiet mind, Yeah, you breathe slowly and deeply, and your heart is quite relaxed and slowly beating. You know, you have really deep and long breaths. But when you get stressed, your whole physiology changes. So that changes to a faster heart rate. You know, your breathing becomes shallower, it becomes more in the top of your chest, your voice can even change. So to bring yourself back to that quiet, relaxed state of mind where you can be more productive, you can get more work done, you can be more creative than if you are in a stressed mind. One of the simplest ways you can do that is just by changing your physiology back to that of a quiet mind. And you can do that by also being present with your senses. And that does two things. It helps to quiet your mind, but it also tricks your mind into thinking that because your body is reacting in a calm way, that you are really calm. And so what we can do is, if you are feeling stressed and you notice you're feeling stressed, and if you go through that system of highlighting, you know, the areas that make you feel stressed and how you feel it, how it shows up for you in your body, you will know this. When you feel that stress happening to you, what you can do is just take a couple of minutes, and you can do this anywhere. Focus on your breath. It's the easiest way that I've found with my clients to start them to just relaxing a bit. Slow your breath down and bring your breath into a slow, long in and out, focusing on taking your breath right down to your belly and right out. And we start by just breathing in for 2 seconds, say, and breathing out for 2, and then build it up to 3, and then 4. Focus on your breath going in and out. And by doing that, your heart will respond and reduce the rate that it's beating. And therefore it tricks your brain into thinking you're calmer, but also because your focus now has switched from your overthinking to just being highly focused on your breathing, it allows your mind to calm down, and it gives you a sense of space where you can then regroup and give your brain some, you know, that just is a little bit of downtime so it can relax from being on hyperdrive to just feeling calm and in that space. So let me just recap what it is I would like you to do. First of all, identify the areas of stress in your life. Look at how that shows up in your body. You know, whether you notice it as overthinking, whether you notice it in your mood or your behaviors, or that your body responds to it. Because by doing that, you can do an early identification of when you are getting overstressed. And then bring yourself out of that stress by using a simple breathing technique. And the beauty of this breathing technique is it doesn't matter where you are or where, you know, who is with you. You can do this breathing technique and people won't even know. So if you're getting stressed in a business meeting, or, you know, you're getting stressed with your children, you can just take time to focus back on your breath. I really hope this has been helpful to you, and that you can utilize this very simple and effective way of bringing yourself back into the present and reducing your stress. I'd really like to hear from you to know how that's worked for you and whether it's been successful. Please write me a comment or get in touch with me, let me know. I'd really appreciate that. With that, I'm going to end this video. And from love with my heart to your heart, I thank you for sharing your time with me.